I'll make it real simple. This is a very difficult scene, as you can see. We got cars, everybody's coming to watch. Look, we got cars everywhere. Even the brothers from the South are coming, you know what I'm saying? Banging with the system. All trunk, no bass, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it works. As you can see, this fuck here is pretty excited about it.
No, I'm not.
We're not excited at all, man.
No,
but as professionals, we're gonna take care of it. It's gonna come out
one
right.
take, that's all it's gonna be.
Okay.
Action. Cut!
The way I came up for the idea for Broken Warning was that I was in film school, taking my first live action course. We had to do a black and white film, which was without sound, and kind of get the point across with the performances that we were gonna do. And you know, I was kind of like starting to brainstorm, and we were just writing, because we were given a little bit of time to go ahead and do that. So I'm writing and writing. So then I came upon like this idea. It's like, okay, there were a few videos that had come out at Blockbuster that were made in Chicago, and they were about, you know, gangs, typical shoot 'em ups and stuff. And I was like, okay, that's a good idea. That's a nice point to start. Now, what if instead of them actually, like, you know, being hardcore, you know, thugs and stuff, what if they were actually lovers? Simple, no sound. Maybe if you put some cheesy music in it, it would work.
Fill him up.
Terry, do one more time.
Fill him up with blood.
At that moment, I had met Roger, Domian, while I was a waiter, and the first story I presented to him was Greasepaint. After we finished talking about Greasepaint, then I decided, I was like, okay, I had enough guts, and I told him this story. I was like, God, I hope you guys don't think I'm like weird or crazy, you know, but here's the story. And it was Roger and Perry who were listening to it, and you know, their eyes opened up wide. It's like, oh my God, this is a great story. And you know, I was waiting tables, so you know, I left them talking, because by the time I came back, they're like, okay, well, what if, you know, so and so is from a separate gang, and the other guy's from a separate gang, and they join in together from like two gangs. I'm like, yeah, that is true. That could work. And then they find out, and this and that. You know, I was like, that's perfect. You know, and then I'm like, I still wanted a tragic ending at the end, no matter what. But at the end, it was supposed to be Angel who's still alive. We think that he's dead, but Angel's the one who's alive, and Isaac instead decided to kill himself. So we're like, yeah, that's perfect, you know. So Roger went and again wrote the synopsis, and he added the dialogue to it, and finished it up. And then by the time I was in my second year of film school, we were going to start doing a color film and adding sound after we had shot it. So, you know, I presented the idea to my professor, and she's like, no, it's not going to work, there's too much dialogue. But we had already planned it out. We thought about like creative ways that we could get away with the dialogue, such as perhaps, you know, covering your mouth, or maybe turning to the side and we don't even see you.
Hello?
Yo, what's up, Isaac? It's Reaper.
What's up?
What you been up to?
Nothing. Just got home.
Professor's like, no, it's going to be too hard, you know, and it's not going to work. I was like, God, that was discouraging, you know. And again, I was like, oh, Jesus, I went through this with Greasepaint. I told her, you know what? Again, if I fail, I fail. No big deal. I'll take the class over again. Please just let me do this movie. And finally, she's like, okay, it's on you. Gave me my tickets to get my film, and that was it. And I shot the movie, and that's where the big problem started. one thing that we hadn't expected is, well, we live in Chicago, and the weather here changes every 5 minutes.
I'm cold!
I mean, it was Thursday, and we were picking up all the equipment, and my DP came up to me. He's like, hey, come here. I'm like, what's up? Is there any way that we can shoot this inside? I'm like, why? I'm like, because it's going to be really cold. I'm like, that's impossible. It's like 70 degrees right now. It cannot change dramatically from one moment to another. But I was wrong, because that is typical of Chicago weather. Well, you can have all 4 seasons in one day, you know, especially around springtime.
So how's the shoot going?
Pretty good.
Right there?
Cold?
Yes.
Good. I'm cold too.
And sure enough, you know, the next day came and it was mighty windy and it was mighty cold. But it was like, oh well, the show must go on. So we decided just to go on as scheduled. You know, I just wanted to keep shooting. I really didn't care. You know, we could just get a work around it. Now the only problem was that the film didn't come in on time. I had arranged for the film to be FedExed over to my parents' work, and when I went there, it turns out that they hadn't received it. So I called FedEx. I'm like, you know, what's going on? You know, I ordered some film and it hasn't come in. Oh, well, you know, was it the address 4822 South Cicero? I'm like, no, it's 4820 South Cicero. Like, you sent it to the wrong one. Then I called Kodak, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, oh, we sent it to the wrong address. I'm like, oh my God. It was about 6 o'clock. I'm already running behind schedule. So then I decided to go to FedEx out in Hotchkiss, Illinois, which is, you know, about 30 minutes away. I picked up the film and like made sure it was all there. Good, you know, I had to deal with traffic getting back to Chicago, and we started shooting. All the extras were there. Everybody was there. The lighting setup was already ready. It was just a matter of filling out the camera with film and getting out there and shoot. It was pretty blustery. It was pretty cold. Everybody was freezing their asses off. I didn't feel it personally because I was on such a creative rush that I just wanted to get the project done. I didn't even feel cold. I didn't feel hungry by the time the catering came, so it was good. So we decided just to shoot the establishing party scene when Isaac and Angel come to the party. They drive up, and just as Isaac is about to warn Angel, Reaper comes in and breaks the warning. And then we have a big master shot of the party, an overhead shot, you know. And again, since we were adding the sound in afterwards, the good way to do it is just kind of have, you know, Isaac and Angel gesturing towards each other, where Angel tells Isaac, I'm gonna go get a beer, you want one? Isaac's like, no. And we see him nodding, and then he just walks off. Cut away to some shots of some of the other gangsters looking at each other, and they go and they follow him to the garage where he meets his demise.
Yo, I'm gonna go get a brew, you want one? Nah, man.
Sent some of the people home, and then we still had to keep a few of the guys in there for the garage, but my God, it was insanely freezing. But we got like the shot where Isaac turns up the radio, and then Angel, you know, gets beat up in the garage, and we see him, you know, suffering. And then we did the shot where Isaac and Angel are on the floor. But it was pretty cool the way we did it, because as you can see, they're positioned in the same area. You know, we just told them, it was like, okay, the lighting setup was already set. The audience isn't really gonna know. So we just like shot Angel first, shot his stuff from one side, and then sent Angel home for the night. And then Isaac came in, Isaac's character, Eddie, you know, sat in, and we switched the camera over to the other side. I believe that's, and it just worked perfectly. I thought it was incredible. I was like, okay, cool, that saves us on another lighting setup.
Ready, Max?
We okay on blood?
Yeah, we're cool. He ain't gonna spit in here or anything. He's all right.
All right. Roll camera.
Speed.
Action.
gray card, an art into itself. You see, you must hold it at the perfect angle, or else.
Thank you.
I do.
It's like filming Taddy freezing over there.
So the second day was where we have the opening shot where the guys are all spray painting on the wall. Another cool way that we did this, you know, because I didn't want to spray paint the wall because my grandparents would kill me because it was their house. We just have them off camera so much that you can't even see that the spray is actually hitting the wall, which it wasn't. Another cool way, since the audience is like going to be like, they're BSing, they're not writing on the wall. So we got a piece of glass and we rigged it up to a C-stand. And I just told Max, you know what, Max, just write on the piece of glass and we'll have the camera right there. And you know, Michel framed it in such a way that it looks like he's actually spray painting into the camera, you know, cleaned up that glass really nice so it could be clear, and just started spray painting the hell out of that piece of glass, and it worked beautifully. So it was really good. I was like, man, how creativity takes you such a long way. It was really good.
So you say go, I step up, and then you go, yeah, I'll tell you line. Then you say line, then I'll go, what the fuck you think I'm doing?
Yeah. Set!
The guy who plays Officer Dorback is Perry Flores. Perry's like a really cool character because in real life he's actually a really cool guy, and you know, just to hear him talk and just to look at him, and he, like the transition in the film is just really cool. He really looks like a real threatening cop, you know, some kind of a undercover narc that's roaming around the neighborhoods that I've seen. So we just decided to have him do that, and he worked it pretty good.
What the fuck you think you're doing? Oh, I'm sorry, my
Dude, that's kick ass. Cut!
Oh, they're staying.
Come on! Cut! That's good. Now there's just one little problem.
Okay,
I
the
see a
shadows,
shadow on
yeah.
the ground.
Do not stand in the shadows.
I know that he did hurt his knee when he did that one fall. Well, actually, when he does this fall right here, he falls and he hurt his knee on the, I think it was the second try, because we only did 2 shots. Since we were so limited on film, we couldn't do so many takes. So everything you see here is pretty much all we shot. You know, there was no room for outtakes at all whatsoever.
And action! Line.
Hey, what the fuck you kids think you're doing?
Oh shit! Let's get the fuck out of here!
We were doing this running scene in the alley, and we busted the camera. Man, that really killed me right there. And that's another thing that set us behind schedule, was because of that. And that was really insane. You know, at first I was kind of like freaking out for Michel because he took out this advanced camera, this $25,000 camera, and now it's broken. You know, like the way we were doing is we were mounted it on a doorway dolly, and we did a running shot, you know, and the camera was following, like tracking the guys. So the guys are running and the camera's over here and we're following them. And that one worked out good. So then we switched it around and then we did the camera, you know, following them from behind and following Officer Dorback. And before you knew it, like one of the sandbags fell, hit the wheel, and the camera pow, flipped over, a lens burst, went and cracked, and then the shutter inside the camera, inside the gate, was cracked. That really shocked me right out of my mind. And then you know, we went downstairs, we went inside real quick, just assess the damage. Sure enough, you know, the camera wasn't usable at all. I was like, oh my god. So what do sneaky filmmakers do? We went right back to Colombia and snuck it in there and got another one. I think I could talk about that now also, because that was like 5 years ago already. So I don't think they could get in trouble with that anymore, but you know, sorry about that. But hey, it was our vision, you know. Besides, it got insurance, I'm sure. So, you know, again, I still really do feel bad, but you know, it comes with the art. But definitely, please be very careful when you're using other equipment, because if you behave like this in the real world, nobody's going to want to rent to you, or your insurance is going to go sky high because of it. Christopher has suggested this guy named Michel, So I contacted him, told him what the story was, and I was like, God, I hope these guys are open-minded and enjoy the story. And which he did. He really thought it was a pretty bitchin' story. And so he came in, and then he had his assistant camera operator, Eugene Parks, which also, you know, was really, really kick-ass. You know, they were pretty fast, did the work right away, and that was it. For my AD, whom I needed somebody like to be on my ass about scheduling, was Katrina Ness. She was in my first live-action film course, and we had worked together in a few projects during that semester. So, I mean, it was really cool just to have her on the side, you know, giving me support and just, you know, really being right on top of everything for the 2 days. So it was really good. We had to go one more day of shooting because of the weather, and we were just falling way too behind. So we just decided to do the kissing scene on Sunday morning, and it was a really nice little adventure in itself because we were so limited on film again. And so the guys messed up once, where you know they're about to go for it, and then Eddie gets distracted by a car that's coming down. There's a big Catholic church down the street, so everybody was coming out of mass around that time. So there was a car passing by, and he turns around right when we're filming, and of course I yell, "Cut! Damn!" Like, oh my God, we could have had it, we could have moved on. But I was like, you know what, forget it. You know, we have enough. Don't worry about it. You know, it's just in the matter of cutting.
I'm sorry for laughing, but it's funny. It's like, people are watching, damn it.
All I can say is I'm glad it's not me.
The reaction to the kiss on set was very professional, you know, with the exception of Perry. Like, you know, kind of turning away, and then you see him like kind of take a glance back and look and get pretty disgusted. But it was hilarious, you know. I really, really enjoyed doing that, and just the professionalism of Max and Eddie that really, really carried it out, you know, so well. You know, I'm pretty sure they're out for a really good future. You know.
Cut! Beautiful. How did that look? Great. Great.
One take? Excellent.
Now we do it over the other side. Good job, you fucking pussy!
I held one day of auditions at Columbia College, and in search of the right people to be able to carry the parts for Angel and Isaac. And so the first guy who auditioned for me was Max Arciniega, and I was just really taken aback by him. He had done a monologue by the Zoot Suit, and his performance was just very powerful just for that. I mean, I really felt it while I was recording him, and then I was just like, wow, you know, and I'm like, well, you got the part. Right then and there, you know, I'll keep you informed. The last guy before I left was Eddie Pina. Came in, and, you know, he did a monologue, and I was like, okay, do you know anything else off the top of your head? And he did another dramatic monologue. I was like, okay, perfect, you know, you got the part. And that was it. One thing that when I got the two actors together, I decided just to brief them really quick, and I just tell them straight out, do you have any problems with controversial films? And they're like, no, I mean, controversial films is what really makes like the movies go around, you know. Not everything is always a happy ending, you know, and sometimes controversy is really good. And that's when I laid it on them. They're like, whoa, you know, this is deep, and it's very different, you know, and it has never been done before. And which kind of encouraged them to really, really go for it even more, because it was just something more challenging than just your typical, stereotypical gangsta character. So they went out and did it, and you know, the results are great.
Hi, kid. I'll pick you up later for Reaper's party tonight.
Keep your finger on the walkie-talkie while you're talking. That way I could just yell the cut, okay?
Okay. Do you want him to stop at the no parking sign, the pole, before the fire hydrant?
No, stop right before the tow zone. Right before there.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, I thought like right by the fire hydrant. Okay, cool. No problem.
Working with Max and Eddie was a real treat. I really, really had a blast with them. They were really awesome. I mean, you couldn't find any more professionalism with them, you know, especially to take a part like this. They would goof around on the set, you know. Max would go into his little dancing routines, and I mean, it was just really cool, you know. I felt at ease, and I believe they felt really at ease with me as well. So, I mean, I think that's really, really important when you're working with adults as well. And this time, instead of working with kids, you know, it's getting not only getting the trust of kids, but getting the trust of adults as well, that they're willing to allow you to take them, or allow you for them to take themselves into this this different state of being, which is acting pretty much. The music was composed by a 13-year-old at the time, and his name was Gregory Martin. Gregory Martin actually we met Gregory Martin through Roger, actually. And he had sent him like some clips of his music, and we got in contact with him, and we told him about the story. So we sent him a rough cut of the movie, and he was really, really like going nuts over it, so he composed something immediately, sent over a CD, and we were able just to, you know, lay it out on the movie, which really did it justice. It was really incredible and how well it really worked. So I mean, that was just something else, and it was more than what I expected from somebody who was 13 years old at the time. The song Hip Hop is Living Me was provided by Max. He's also got, that's the beauty thing, Max is very multi-talented, and it's always really important to try to have multi-talented people on your crew or as your cast. He's got a group called Crew Life, and they composed this song called Hip Hop is Living Me. And at the time I was starting to try to find like some kind of hip hop music that was royalty free and I could use it. And so Max is like, well, I've got a song, you know, if you want it, go ahead. And so he let me use it. I was like, dude, this rocks, this is perfect. You know, I listened to the lyrics. It just really fell into what I needed, and it's featured in the movie. So the time finally came. I was done cutting grease paint, and I had to go and get this sucker done so I could complete it by at least by the time the semester was over, which was. I sent it all in. That it got developed. I paid a little bit extra for the processing fees. I gave it to the film cage at school. They took care of it, and then the moment came to transfer all the footage. So I got my order back. I had already thrown out grease paint, and I was starting to cut it together. But then I started noticing, I was like, wait a minute, you know, I'm missing some footage here. So I went to the film cage. I was like, I'm missing some footage, and the guy Jose, who was Marin's boyfriend at the time, was like, no. You're only allowed to put 500 feet, not 1,300 feet of film into the drive disc. I'm like, yeah, but I paid for it. I paid extra for it, and it's even there, you know. And they said that they could do it, so I want this transferred. No, we're not going to be able to do it, you know. I was like, oh my God. So then I went, was the head of the editing department. And I talked to her. I was like, you know what? I went to the film cage. They said that everything could be transferred if I paid extra for it. And here's my receipts. I paid extra for it. Now I want this transferred, please. I was like, oh no, we can't do it because it can only fit, you know, so much. I'm like, and it's gonna fit. I threw away my other project. It's not in there anymore. Now you can go ahead and put all that in there. Oh no, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Yes, it is. I already did the calculations. Trust me, it will be enough. No, it's not. I'm like, I don't want to go over your head. Please, just do that. No. Okay, fine. Actually, I didn't know. So I went to my professor and told her about it, and she's like, well, you know, you shouldn't have done that. I'm like, well, I have to, you know, I mean, I've done good work. You saw Greasepaint and how amazed everybody was. She's like, okay, I'll talk to the head, and we'll see what we can work out. So she went and talked to the department, you know, and she gave good word. She gave him a good word, you know. She's like, oh, you know, he always goes ahead of his class, you know, he's always, you know, right on top of everything. And, you know, I was really happy with my professor that she had done that, you know, and she said she was also expecting pretty good things with my next film. And you know, then I sat down and talked to Chris, who was the head of the department at the time, and you know, we talked, and I told him, it's like, come on, please. Besides, there's other kids that have dropped the class already, so I mean, I can't see how they don't have enough time to make up for the other students. There's 2 students missing, so why can't I just pick up somebody else's, you know? And besides, I paid. And of course he's like, that's not the point, you know, you've got to follow procedures and this and that. I'm like, okay, you're following procedures, but I want to be better than that. I want to try and achieve more, you know. I'm very serious about being a filmmaker. So finally he's like, okay, fine. So I walked downstairs with him, and then he pulled Marin into a room, and they started talking, and then I could just hear the voices being raised in the other room, and I was like, oh my God. And I kind of felt a little bit bad because she was getting yelled at, or, I mean, there was just like a pretty big, a loud little fiasco going inside. Anyways, by that time, you know, he's like, okay, everything's taken care of. You should have everything ready by tomorrow. I'm like, cool, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, you know, and I won't let you guys down. This will be really good. You know, I finally finished it up, showed it to my professor. She was like, you know what, I really had doubts, but you really pulled it off. You really managed to pull it off with the dialogue and everything. I never thought it could be done. And I'm like, of course it can be done. You just got to find different ways and be as creative as possible and do it. So there's a Student Latino Film Festival at school every year. They usually have it around March. So I submitted my movie in there and submitted Greasepaint at the same time. So they both screened, and they had it was like a little competition also. So first place, Tadeo Garcia, Broken Warning. I mean, I was just really, really happy. And then with that, it went on to the Chicago International Latino Film Festival for 2001. And that was just the icing on the cake. I mean, I was like, man, it cannot get any better than this. And I was really, really wrong because during one of the screenings at Facets, my friend Gil Magana came up to me and he told me, he's like, there's this film festival you should submit. It's specifically for short films. And you pretty much have a really good chance of winning, you know. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. I went to the internet, downloaded the application and sent in my $25. You know, I threw it in the mail and sent it in, didn't hear from them for a while until about May. And they called me up and they're like, oh, congratulations, you're in the final, you're one of the finalists for the film. I'm like, oh, great, thank you very much. I was really, really grateful. And not until June, they told me that, congratulations, your movie won. And you're gonna be screened, we're gonna fly you out here, you're gonna be able to stay out here in Los Angeles. Like, oh, get the hell out of here. I'm like, oh, I was just really, it was great. And I won $1,000 also. So I'm like, man, this is incredible, you know. And that just gave me more ambition to want to like really pursue filmmaking even more, because I mean, it's just like, I know it's not easy to win at all whatsoever, but I mean, this is a story from the heart. So sure enough, you know, I called up Gil. I'm like, thank you so much, man. I told my parents, they were really happy. Cool. So next up was Los Angeles. You know, I met my professor at school because I needed to get, and I ran into her. I'm like, guess what? My movie just made it to the film festival out in Los Angeles. And I just won. I won $1,000. They're flying me out there, and I'm staying in a hotel, and I'm going to screen it at the film festival in LA. She's like, congratulations. You know, I went down to the editing department. I think it was to find Chris, and I ran into Marin, who always had doubts. And like, she's like, oh, hi, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm good. You know, I'm like, you won't believe it, my movie made it, you know, and it won at the Student Latino Film Festival. It was screened at Chicago International, and now it just won first place for Best Dramatic Short at the film festival in Los Angeles. She's like, wow, congratulations. I'm like, no, thank you very much. You know, I couldn't have any hard feelings, you know, and I just really thank them. I thank the department at Columbia very much because, you know, they were willing to go ahead and do that for me. A lot of people at the screening at the film festival came up to me afterwards, and we were talking about the movie and how much they loved my movie. And they said, you know, it'd be really good if you could have gotten a little bit more into depth with the characters. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it was a student project, you know. So, you know, I came back to Chicago, and all along the way, I was like thinking, man, well, they kind of got a point. It would be a good idea to remake this into a full-length feature film. So, you know, I called Roger and I told him, I was like, hey, dude, you know, we were actually working on a project called My Project, actually. And we decided just to go ahead and put that on hold and work on the feature-length film, which Roger thought it was a pretty bitchin' idea to go ahead and do it. And sure enough, that's actually another adventure for later on.
Cut!
To me, Broken Morning is a lot like The Little Train That Could. Actually, this is more like The Little Film That Could. Despite all the trouble that we went to making it, we made it, and it was very successful.